Those moments that your kids, put a smile on your face, even though it was an embarrassing thing.
You can laugh about it later.
Yeah, right? It's Rob and Lizz in the morning, his radio. You should see these texts.
Yeah, Ann texted and said she was at church. She was in the sanctuary very first Sunday. She was a single parent, had 2 kids on one side, and then her youngest, a 2-year-old, was on the other side. So she was paying attention to the ones that were 4 and 8 years old, and while she was paying attention to them, 2-year-old snuck off and had crawled under the pews up to the pulpit.
No, get out.
She said she could not dig deep enough under the carpet to get away, so she walked up, claimed him, and I don't know if she ever went back to that church. She probably did.
Probably. So Patricia's here at 800-447-7234. If I get this right, one day you were looking out your window. You saw this car pull up, and then what happens?
I got a knock on my door, and this man in a orange shirt, I guess it was a county truck, and he asked me if I had some children named Jimmy, Billy, and Michael, and I said, yes, sir. He said, well, they got their bicycles out on the landing strip of the airport.
Oh, no.
They were on the tarmac as if they're going to be a plane?
I reckon they was racing the planes. I don't know, but he had their bicycles in the back of the truck. He said they'll be here in just a minute. But they were taking a trip down that landing strip at the airport.
Oh, my goodness. I'm just glad that they were safe.
You're listening to Rob and Lizz in the morning.
His radio.
40 years ago, there was this little blockbuster that made it into theaters, Return of the Jedi, Star Wars.
40 years ago.
So they're going to put it back in theaters coming up near the end of this month, and I think it wraps up on May 4th, which Scott made the observation. That's the May the 4th be with you day.
Yeah, it is.
Couldn't help it.
I know, right? Well, I'm sure that's why they did that. Could May the 4th be with you.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lucas people are not intelligent.
They're
They
really
know what they're
smart marketing people.
Yes, they
Yeah, so
are.
it's hitting back into the theaters. One other thing about Scott is that, and you probably don't know this, but Scott knows a lot of people. I mean, a ton of people. As a matter of fact, he is good friends with the actor who played Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill.
Yeah, we go way back. When I was a little boy, my cousin's husband was a deputy sheriff in the local police force, and apparently another deputy knew Mark Hamill, and this was in a little town, Ringgold, near Atlanta, North Georgia, about an hour, 15 minutes away. So he came up to visit the deputy, and my cousin came to get me, took me to the sheriff's office. I thought I was in big trouble, and there's Mark Hamill in the big black, leather chair. He's turned to the window, and he whips around, and I'm like, jaw drop. Mark Hamill, right here in the same room I am.
And you took
Super
the
cool
opportunity to ask him all your Star Wars questions and get an autograph.
Yeah, deep questions like, do you remember that part in the movie when, I'm like, what, 4 or 5 years old, and we're just going through the different movie scenes.
Mark
but
Hamill must
super
have been
cool.
20 or something.
Oh, wow. And I love that I don't know if he set it up, ahead of time, but that he whipped around in the chair to make that much more of an impact.
You can hear the Star Wars theme song going,
exactly.
right?
You're listening to Rob and Lizz in the morning.
His radio.
So Ocean Grove, New Jersey, had their pier destroyed in 2012 by one of the hurricanes that came through. And so some of the townspeople, and this is a community that is known for its Christian roots. I didn't know anything about this. I did not know that Ocean Grove was like this. So what they have decided to do is, of course, rebuild the pier, but they had to come up with a design for it. They decided it was going to be a cross.
The shape of a cross.
It's the shape of a cross.
So when you get an aerial of it and look down,
yes,
you see the cross.
Yeah, you see absolutely the cross, and that was intentional to be a cross to represent Christ. I mean, that is this community at its core. It cost $2 million to rebuild this pier, but it was 100% donor funded. The town didn't have to come up with any money. So that tells you a little bit about this community. I've only been to New Jersey, in the airport, so I don't know much. I'm just around Newark. That was it.
Horrible airport.
Is it?
Yes.
I like it because it's cheaper.
There's that.
Yeah, than flying into New York City. But, so anyway, this is cool. I want to go to Ocean Grove now because I want to see this pier and to be part of this community a little bit and see what they're doing.
Faith in Jesus is so important to them that after something is built down, they want to build it up on the thought of the cross.
Right.
You know?
And that the community is behind it enough to come up with $2 million to make it happen.
You're listening to Rob and Lizz in the morning.
His radio.
You may remember back in the day, Netflix, which is a huge streaming service. It's worse than going to a restaurant that has too many items on the menu. I never know what I want to watch when I go to Netflix.
Or you start 10 minutes in, you're like, nope,
I
back
know.
up.
Go to something else. I
Yeah.
mean, some of those movies, I got to filter them.
Or just boring.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But back in the day when Netflix got started, it was, hey, you want to see a movie? We'll mail it to you. You know, it was
And
all
you-
DVD.
Right. You keep it a couple of days and mail it back, get another one.
Yeah, the little red envelope
It was
that they
so
used
nice.
to send out. Red boxes really captured that, you know?
I don't see as many people at Redbox as I used to. And
Yeah.
it makes sense because a lot of people are streaming.
So Netflix, I had no idea, still does this.
Yeah. Had no idea.
Still, 25 years later, they're still sending out DVDs in the red envelopes. But they said, you know what? It's good things all have to come to an end. We had a good 25-year run. More people are streaming us. At least, you know, I
Yeah.
never think of DVDs with Netflix anymore.
Ever.
So on the 29th, September 29th, will be the last time they mail out the red envelope with a DVD in it.
Well, I like that they're giving us a little time. If this is still
Oh, really?
a service, because it could be the end of the month, April 29th, and it's all done. What? I got a week, to make this transition. But you got until the end of September. At least there's that.
That's
So
if anybody still does that. I don't know how many people actually do that.
we still have a DVD player, but I haven't.
I don't use it.
Listen, why I'm still holding on to it because I have not hooked it up to anything in probably
It's like
2
the old
years.
VHS.
Right? Not as clunky, that's for sure.
We finally got rid of all the tapes. We don't
Did
need them
you?
anymore. Yeah, why? Why even have them when you can stream everything?
I don't know. Watching The Little Mermaid on VHS, I don't know why there's just part of your world.
Yeah,
like
but
I
just
don't
stream
know.
it. It's streamed.
It-
Why do you have to? It's
something
streamed.
different on the tape, and I don't know why. I think it's a memory of me and my daughter watching that movie, like hearing the clunk of the tape going into the system
Mm-hmm.
and then it taking. And I don't know.
Watch it on YouTube then. You just have a YouTube video that does the clunk thing for you.
No, it has to be the whole process. And she has
No.
to sit in my lap.
No, she's an adult.
So it's still okay.
You're listening to Rob and Lizz in the morning.
His radio.
3.5 months ago, the world saw football, maybe some for the very first time, NFL, when Damar Hamlin collapsed after he was hit and had cardiac arrest. And you know the rest of the story. Well, it's 3.5 months later, and now Damar Hamlin, who a ton of people were praying for, has been cleared to play.
That is fantastic.
3.5 months later, so they're going to start training before you know it.
Yeah, I think he's already been like with the team and kind of hanging out with them and maybe doing some runs or something like that just to try to build up that endurance.
Not pushing it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did see a doctor, and I don't know if it's his doctor, but a doctor talking about the chance of that ever happening to him again is so small because it would have to be a perfect storm of being tackled in a certain way, his heart being in a certain rhythm or something, that's why they felt okay to clear
That's
him.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. And that's his livelihood. That's his love. That's his passion. And when that's stripped from you, it's really hard to come back.
And especially at such a young age.
Right.
Anybody that goes through a big health scare like that, there's always anxiety and some depression that can come on because you're second guessing your body. And especially someone, what is he? He's in his 20s, if I'm not mistaken.
He's
So
young.
Yeah, so he has a good long life and a good long time in football, I guess.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
I don't know if you noticed, but when it comes to people who volunteer, there's not as many anymore.
There's not.
No.
It seems like right during the pandemic, so many people either weren't able to get out of their homes and do some volunteerism, or they just decided to drop off the list, sort of thing.
I read that some people found new ways of helping people.
There are new ways of helping people, and even what we have decided to volunteer in, like the different organizations, that's kind of changed over the last couple of years.
It has.
So, there's fewer people working in like women's and girls organizations. So I guess I'm thinking like Girl Scout organizations and things like that.
The Boys and Girls Club, places that
Exactly.
have mentors and
Right.
mentorees.
So there's fewer volunteers there from what we hear, but there's more working with things like food banks and that type thing, which is good to see because there's so many more people that are in need of those provisions.
Yeah, one thing that I hope will not suffer are churches.
Yeah.
Because church, I mean, seriously, runs off a lot of volunteers, especially when it comes to Sunday.
Yeah. And what I've seen, and I think most, you might agree, Rob may agree with this, that you have a lot of people who volunteer, but there's an awful lot of people that don't, that never, drive the church bus or never do the thing. So there's a lot of people that have a lot of work on their shoulders.
Yeah, and at his radio, we have the Fun Patrol.
Yes.
And the Fun Patrol gets out on the weekends and goes to all these different events and festivals to just love on people and share Jesus with people with the Fun Patrol.
Yeah, and I love that aspect of it, that you get to have fun, smiling, cutting up, being at these festivals, and yet you are showing and sharing Jesus. What a perfect volunteer
I know,
opportunity.
right?
Yeah.
With the Fun Patrol. So I look at that with the whole volunteer thing. I'm like, okay, here's who I don't want to suffer. I don't want anybody to when it
No.
comes to volunteers.
Yeah, because there's so many organizations that are so worthy and need volunteers. We just got to spread it out.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
Ew. Whoa.
That is never good first
I don't
thing
know
in
if
the
you
morning
smell
when
that.
you start doing that.
No.
What is it?
I don't know. It's Rob and Lizz in the morning, his radio.
Yeah? What's that smell you're smelling?
I don't know.
Tell you what, if it's an orange, you're going to have a longer attention span.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird to think about. When I think of smelling an orange, I think happy. I think outside, the beach. I think all of these things.
Because smells do kind of,
Change your mood.
yeah, it helps it a little bit.
It does. So I know that I have some like bath salts that are like lavender. And so that's for relaxation because when you smell that smell, you just sort of like chill. You're good.
Lavender?
Yes.
I think
lavender's-
grandma.
For lavender?
Yeah.
My dog groomer uses a little lavender shampoo on our dog, and she does smell like a grandma sometimes when she comes home. So I get that.
Yeah.
I understand that completely. But, a new study, Brown University, said smells can change your mood. And I'm like, y'all spend a lot of time and money on something I think that we already knew.
I already understand that.
Yeah, because when I smell coffee first thing in the morning, it's invigorating. I don't know if that works for everybody. That's what it does for me.
I think Scott's the same way when it comes to coffee.
Oh, really?
Yes. It just perks me right up. I love the smell. I love to drink coffee, but there's something about the smell of coffee, too, that really, it's great.
If you ever go through the drive-thru in a coffee shop and they open the drive-thru window, it's like, yes, I could melt.
I
in
like
that.
the smell of the coffee grounds. Not
Oh, I
after
do
they were
too.
made, but, the fresh. The freshness
Yes.
of it is nice.
So, like when you're in Publix and you get them ground up and you're just like standing there.
No, I
people
don't
look-
do that.
Why not?
Well, number one, I don't go to the store.
Well, that must be nice.
And number two, that's just weird.
Why is that weird? You're smelling
Sit
your own
there.
coffee grounds. It's not like you're smelling somebody else's beans
I
that
don't
have been
know.
ground.
It's,
You're listening to Rob and Lizz in the morning.
His radio.
So something's going to happen on Monday that I think is spectacular because it would affect you, and I think I can say it this way. I think I can.
Oh, I'm on guard again.
I
Here
know
we go.
Liz is a little worried because sometimes I let the cat out of the bag.
Sometimes, yes.
But I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. All I'm going to say about this, because it'll be your best summer ever coming up,
Okay, that's okay. You can say
Okay.
that. Mm-hmm.
is it will affect some travel plans. That's all I'll say.
It will. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're not going any farther than that.
Nothing about Orlando.
Oh, my goodness.
Nothing.
gracious.
Did I say too much?
Look at my face.
So, I did say too much.
You did say too much.
I didn't say anything about the theme park or anything. I said, here's what I said. I remember what I just said. I said something about it'll affect your travel plans, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I said Orlando.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you did.
And then did I mention theme park? Because I should wait till
Did
Monday.
you? I think you did twice. Yes.
I'll wait
Yes,
till
sir.
Monday on the theme park.
Will
I think
you,
it's
though?
okay to talk about. Well, I didn't say what theme park. It is in Orlando.
We've narrowed it down.
No.
We haven't?
Now let's
No,
talk
we
about.
haven't. You have.
Let's talk about Orlando. Orlando
Let's
has
not talk about.
one, two.
Let's not talk about Orlando.
There's 3 different theme parks in Orlando. I did not mention which one.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Stop
What?
it. Stop it.
No.
Stop it.
But it's the best summer ever.
It is going to be. Let me take it. Somebody turn that mic off over there.